So as problem solvers, it is recommended to explore these alternative solutions before leaping into a new system solutions. So as a good problem solver, we must explore the given alternative solutions before approaching to the new system solution, so that these alternative solutions can effectively be used to get the positive outcomes, like the highest quality and the cheapest solutions. However, when these alternative activities fail to reduce this gap, then we have to actively change the distance between the perception and the desire by defining and implementing the new system. Only when the alternative activities we experienced failed to reduce the gap between the desire and between the perception, then we should actively change the distance between these two things. And how we can decrease the distance between the perception and the desire? By defining and proposing or implementing the new system. So the goal of problem analysis is to gain a better understanding of the problem being solved before development begins. So basic goal of problem analysis is to get the better understanding of the problem we have to solve before the development phase. If we will have the good understanding of the problem, this is the only way to build a right solution. So now we will see what are the 5 steps that we can use in order to analyze the problem. So first we have is to gain the agreement on the problem definition. You should get the agreement from the customer on based problem definition. Next, we must have the understanding of the root causes of that particular problem. Number 3, identify the stakeholders and the users. Basically, these are the persons which have the right information of the system we have to build. So the basic and the important source of software requirements are basically stakeholders. You can say the primary source of requirements gathering is basically the set of stakeholders and the users. So this is important to identify the stakeholders and the users. Number 4, we must define the solution system boundary. Define the boundary of the new proposed solution system in order to restrict or limit the boundary or the domain of the solution. Number 5 is to identify the set of constraints that should be imposed on the solution. In order to build a right product, it is necessary to have some agreement and to understand the root causes of that particular problem, to identify the set of stakeholders and the users, and to define the solution system boundary, as well as we have to identify all the set of constraints imposed on the solution in shape of requirements. Constraints are basically, again, the system's requirements. So, as we all know, in order to implement a system which will be according to the needs of the users, must fully satisfy the set of requirements. And constraints are again the part of those set of requirements. The step number 1 is basically to gain the agreement on the problem definition. Basically, when you do the problem analysis, the goal of problem analysis is to get the better understanding of the problem. After getting the better understanding and the detailed understanding of the problem, now this is a formal step, is to design an agreement which will be based on that particular problem definition. And that agreement will be held between the customer and the development team. So, in gain agreement, we will focus on what is the problem. We, the technologists, tend to rush the headlong into the solution, providing rather than taking time to truly understand the problem. So, as a development team, the focus is on the fastest development of the problem. But in order to build an effective solution, it is necessary to take some time in order to understand the problem first. So the suggestion for the sake of understanding the problem is basically you have to write the problem and see if you can get everyone to agree on it. You will specify the detail of that particular problem in order to get the agreement from everyone. So, in order to really understand that what is the problem, we must search for the root causes of that particular problem, or the problem behind the problem. And it often leads to a clear understanding of the real problem. So, in order to get the better understanding of the problem, we should search for the root causes of that particular problem so that we can identify the problem behind the particular problem. So this strategy can help us to clearly understand the real set of problems. So, for the sake of the development of right solution is basically we must have the first step is to gain the agreement on the definition of the problem to be solved. We must make our customers agree upon that particular solution which will be proposed by the development team. This is the only way through which we can make our customer satisfied not only in the early stages of software development or in the start of the software development as well as after the delivery of the software development. One of the simplest ways is to gain this agreement is to simply write the problem down and see whether everyone agrees. You just need to document and to specify the problem, and we have to see and check whether everyone agrees upon that particular problem definition. So it is often helpful to understand some of the benefits of the proposed systems. So basically this agreement will enable the development team to have that confidence in developing that particular system which will be based on the agreement of the users.